alaikum.
Alaikum salam, Auntie Aisha. What?
You still can't say it.
Assalamu alaikum, Aisha.
There you go.
Oh, that's exactly what I just said.
Today with us, we have one of the finest voices of Indian cinema on global stage. Director, TV presenter, actor, entrepreneur, the one and only Shekhar Kapur. Shekhar Kapur is here with us for his film's Australian premiere, What's Love Got to Do With It? Welcome to Sydney, Shekhar.
Thank you very much.
You're making your directorial comeback after 15 years. What aspect of the script of your film, What's Love Got to Do With It, made you make a rom-com after so many years?
Well, I was still directing, I just didn't direct features. I've done 2-3 big American TV series, and I do a lot of stage, musicals on stage. I've done in Vienna, in Korea, everywhere I've done them. But what I went for in this film was not the fact that it was a rom-com. I got very, very interested in this idea of intimacy. What do you get? I mean, what do you do Tinder for, right? In this generation that is so addicted to Tinder and the constant sex and casual sex, and everybody hopes they'll form a relationship out of it. That was what I wondered. The character Zoe, does she really form a relationship? What is she looking for? And then when she starts to examine arranged marriages, because her question is, how do you know a relationship would work if you don't have sex to know before the relationship? I was in London at 18 years old, and when I got back to India, I was told I was a chartered accountant, so get married. The first question, I would meet a girl and say, will sex work or will it not? And if it doesn't work, is that the beginning of a ruined life, And so I was very interested. What are we looking for? Because it's a fundamental emotion, looking for intimacy. How are we going to find it? And with social media and everything, every young person that I meet today has this great anxiety. How am I going to find a relationship? How am I going to do it? So here are different aspects of how to find intimacy, how to find love. And that's what I really wanted to do in this film.
The film talks about the universal language of love. In today's fast-paced world, as you just mentioned, how would you define love?
Well, that's a big issue, isn't it? That's where everybody gets into trouble, because everybody tries to define love. Can you define life? You can't. Life's a mystery. Love's a mystery. As long as the process keeps involving you, as long as, say, if you're with a partner, you wake up every morning and you say, what is it about this person I don't know? But also remember that being in love means that the one you love is a mirror to yourself constantly. And it's like saying, how do I define myself? Can you? Are you the same person that wakes up every morning? Then when you look at your partner, how do you define your partner? And why do you want to define your partner? And why do you want to define love? Because definition is the killer of anything. So love is a constant yearning, a constant idea of how to be, how to live. So don't try and define it, and that's why the title, What's Love Got to Do With It? Yeah, it's got to do everything, provided you don't try and say, oh, this is love. I don't try and say it. The film has a very reason to have a question mark at the end. Love is a question mark, and thank God for that.
That's a beautiful definition. Shekhar, you were born in Lahore, grew up in India, and were educated in London. So you've experienced all these cultures firsthand that you have depicted in your film. How did you bring your personal perspective to this film?
Well, art is a personal perspective, right? That's what an artist does, whether it's a filmmaker, whether it's a painter or a poet. You look at life and you take it in, and then you throw it out from your own personal perspective. And then your perspective keeps changing. I knew Lahore much more, not when I was born. I was like barely one when we left because of partition. But I went back to Lahore to do music for Bandit Queen with Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. And then I really looked at Lahore again. But every day you change. So you bring a personal perspective. Otherwise, why do you do anything? Because every day you look at something anew. So if I made What's Love Got to Do It the next year, it'll be a different film. It'll be a completely different film because I've changed, right? So yes, we bring personal perspective, my personal perspective. I remember friends of mine who at 18 or 19 or 20s, they were in permanent relationship with white girls in London, went back home, got married to an Indian girl, came back and didn't know what to do anymore. And I said, because you're afraid culturally. fear, cultural differences cause a little bit of a fear, a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of anxiousness. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this film also to say we're all the same. You know, after the end of the film, when we had the cast and crew screening, 3 young guys came up to me and said, "Oh my God, my grandma's just like Nani Jan. How did you know?" See, we're the same. My big fat Greek wedding, remember that?
Yep.
The grandmother was the same. So culturally, we're all the same. Parents, mothers, girlfriends, father, brother. We all have a different, we all have fundamentally the same emotion and the same need to love. And, love causes issues also. Because love is also desire, but love, where we go wrong is love, we think love is ownership. It's not. So all of that, if you look at the end of the film, that's what it's saying. It cannot be ownership. It can only be a process.
No, absolutely. You also master in showcasing in your film strong, flawed, emotionally complex female characters. While in your film, all the characters are searching for love, how did you bring out the best in them?
Well, because the way I direct is because ultimately, the scriptwriter hands over the script to the director brings in interpretation, and then very quickly I hand it over to the actors. So I do a lot of rehearsals, a lot. Because the idea of rehearsals is to let, Emma or Lily understand where the character's in her. So if she's just playing as Zoe, it doesn't work. She has to find Zoe inside her. I have to help her explore Zoe inside her. That's how I work with actors. And that's why when you look at the performances, oh, that's such a good performance, it's because it's an interpretation of the character. It's not, I guess, when you write, you just write a character. But who makes it alive? It's the actors.
Talking about actor, you've reunited with Shabana Azmi after so many years. It's been a delight to see her in the film. Is she like a good wine that just gets better with age?
Of course she is. She's come to a point where she's a bit like Kate Blanchett. Well, yeah, even Emma Thompson, when you get to a certain point, you don't have to say, oh, do it this way, do it that way. You talk about a specific moment and you say, can you be 10% more, 10% less aggressive, 15% there? And they pick it up and they give it to you, So, as you say, experience, understanding of life, that's really important. So, the more experience you have with life, then I don't have to really try and explain, because the film is about life, right? And so you will work with actors who've experienced life. I've experienced life. Shabana's experienced life. So you don't have to say very much to get them to where you think they're right or wrong.
You're also known to give your actors their space so their creativity flourishes. So how did you apply this technique to the lead actors in this film?
I always do that. But rehearsals, once again, I rehearse and I rehearse and I rehearse, so that we all come to an understanding of what the character is within the actor's own perspective, in their own personality, in their own heart. They find it, and then it's up to them. Then I do not, because there's no right or wrong in creativity, right? Nothing is right or wrong. It's either honest or not honest. And if an actor is giving you a certain amount of honesty, it's enough, because what the audience needs is honesty. Audience doesn't look for bad acting, good acting, honesty. That's all it is.
Shekhar, your films have always been ahead of your times. How do you always manage to strike a chord with the audience?
Because I'm searching for the same things that the audiences are. Really, that's all it is. I just search for the same things. I hope I always get connected. Like when I go anywhere, I will walk the streets. Wherever I go, I won't go to expensive parties or things. That I leave to all the people who get successful. If I go to Mumbai, I remember after the Oscars for Elizabeth, I put on my chappals, and I walked all night through the slums of Bombay just to give myself perspective again, because I'd been to the Oscars, and it's very easy to go, look, I'm like Oscar nominated. No, I'm not. I'm that guy on the streets. And as long as you can live on the streets and you can listen and see and look, that's it. To be observant is the prime need of an artist. Constantly observing, constantly observing.
How would you say cinema has evolved through your lens?
I've evolved through my lens, so that's a very difficult question. Cinema, it's very arrogant to me to say cinema has evolved through my lens, but I've evolved constantly evolved, constantly. I think of myself yesterday and say, oh shit, that was me yesterday. What was I doing? I'm this today. You know, that's a constant evolution. But there's never an end to that evolution. You know, the day you think I have evolved to as much as I evolved, you're dead.
So let's get back to a favorite question. So name your 3 favorite rom-coms in the history of cinema.
I don't know. I haven't made a rom-com. I've made a very, very, very emotional film about love. So I lied when I said, because it wouldn't get funded if I said it was a rom-com. It wasn't a rom-com. But what I know is emotion. So I just make emotional characters. That's all I did. 3 favorite rom-coms, 3 favorite funny films.
Funny films, rom-coms, or
Rom-coms, it's a bad term.
That's fine. 3 of your favorite films in the history of cinema.
Oh, that's big, but no, just 4 Weddings and a Funeral has to stand up there. I'll just stay with one, because there are many others, yeah.
No, that's fine. There are so many. It's difficult to choose.
Yeah.
The West has also started taking a deeper look at our films since RRR has been a winner at the Golden Globes. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that the West has lost the plot. My thoughts are that the West has they have a narrative that they've got lost in, and more, like, I'm not just saying Indian films, Korean films, you know, Chinese films, Japanese films. There is a different narrative that is coming in from the East, you know, and the narrative has to change. Otherwise, all art dies till new conflicting ideas come into film. Film as a medium is going to die, and the West is like they make the same stories again and again and again. And so it's time for the East to come and just shake it all up.
That's a great. We're looking forward to more films from you, Shekhar, and thank you so much for taking out time for the interview with Indian Link. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.